So, welcome everyone to an all new Loud Casa Talks, or AKA our Loud House episode reviews. We kind of mix it up now, kind of the way. Um, what's up? My name is Nate, and alongside is my good buddy Omid. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Of course, I'm ready to talk about these certain episodes in particular because let me tell you, I love each and every single one of them. So, get ready to hear me, sing praises to each and every one of those
Sure,
episodes.
sure. Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, these three episodes actually are pretty good considering like one of them is a good Lincoln Loud birthday episode, and then the other ones are Blue Annie plus the time travel episode, which everybody thought they hated, but I actually liked it. Why did everybody start hating the on the time travel episode? Because I thought it was actually really fun.
Yeah, they managed to pull off a Back to the Future scenario better than I thought they would.
Exactly, right? All right, so we always start off with how's everybody's week been? So Omid, how have you been?
I've been doing fine. Of course, last week was so much better because, well, Warriors won the NBA championship. Let's go.
I know. We literally had to take a day off to watch the Golden State Warriors become NBA champions. I mean, okay, for you, Omi, this is your kind of day because you celebrate the Warriors more than I do. So when you saw that they won the championship, how did you feel? You were excited. You're at the bar hanging out with a lot of people. So yeah, explain your excitement of how they of the championship.
Oh yeah, like me and a friend of ours, we're huge Warrior fans. Our favorite basketball team is the Warriors, whereas Nate's is the Kings. Look at his colors. But so yeah, this was an iconic moment for us, and it's especially iconic when you consider the fact that it's an NBA Finals championship post COVID.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I mean, congrats to you guys. Our Kings suck, but I don't care. I mean, I'm still gonna be faithful to Sacramento. But yeah, congrats to the Warriors and all. Yeah. And the other thing too is that this weekend was also Juneteenth weekend. So for those who celebrate Juneteenth, praise and everything. I don't celebrate it, so I wouldn't understand what Juneteenth is. But it's awesome to get a national holiday for this special occasion. It looked like everybody had a fun time. I looked at all like the celebrations for Juneteenth, and it looked like it was fun.
Yeah, it was quite festive. Like I'm honestly someone who very much respects the holiday of Juneteenth, given at how much of an impact that it had, especially towards African Americans and how it celebrates the freedom of African Americans. So yes, like even though I don't really go to festivals or anything like that, I still express on social media how I love and very much respect Juneteenth because of what it stands
Yeah.
for.
And what kind of cool is the fact that we have a holiday. Thankfully, my work actually was able to give me Monday off, so I was pretty happy about that. I mean, you didn't have the Monday off, unfortunately, but yeah, you would have actually went to that parade, by the way, for the Warriors if you
I
actually had the
know
day off.
why. Why is fate so cruel to me? Why can I? Yo, if I had the day off during 15th, yeah, I would have been at the Warrior parade with the crowd. But what can you do?
Unfortunately, that's not the case. Yeah, I know. We could have gotten the day off at all. Could have called it sick or something, but it's okay.
I'm not that kind of guy who calls it sick when I'm not sick. So
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this week has been fun. I finally watched Lightyear. Good movie, by the way. I don't think it actually really was a stellar movie compared to the rest of them, but it was good. I would say good.
yeah, I would say it's a good movie. My friend and I saw it on a Saturday when I was reuniting with him because he came to visit the Bay Area for a short time before he left the following day. So yeah, I was happy to see him. I was happy to watch Lightyear with him, eat sushi with him, play pool with him, all that stuff.
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. All right. Okay, so I guess that's pretty much it for our week. So let's go ahead and get things started with our reviews here. We're only gonna review 3 episodes. So go ahead and get yourself strapped in for this. But yeah, let's go
Yes.
ahead and start off with the first episode that aired on Memorial Day weekend. And it's called Present Danger. So in this synopsis here, dressed as David Steele, Lincoln is on the hunt for a stolen birthday present before it gets destroyed. So in the beginning, it seems that we are setting ourselves up for a David Steele kind of episode with Lincoln Loud, as we get to see the intro going to some spy stuff, and heck, he even had an intro himself. I mean, seriously, like he literally had like a James Bond esque sort of like, um,
Yes.
sort of like an introduction, which I thought was pretty cool. I mean, how did you like this introduction as we get to see Lincoln Loud as David Steele?
Steele, David Steele. Let me tell you, it totally felt like a Loud House 007 to me. It's like a James Bond movie, but much shorter and much more fun. Although next time, don't ruin any garlic knots, okay, Lincoln?
I mean, look, not gonna lie though. I mean, like when you first see the introduction, it just feels like okay. I love how they just make it a David Steele sort of episode. So it's like okay, awesome. I like it. It's like all right. So instead of like him being like what Ace Savvy or just him being regular old Lincoln Loud, this is just him and his birthday, just celebrating David Steele and all. I'm guessing like we haven't heard about David Steele since season 5, and now we're actually gonna see him like in his best. It kind of reminds me of how do you say okay, I hate it when I got to bring up what was it, Kings of the Con, because it was like a savvy episode to say, but then this one is more David Steele and it actually did a whole lot better.
Whole lot better. And this episode is 15 minutes, 10 minutes as opposed to 25 or 30.
Right. I think it's gonna be. It was pretty good. Like I said, 15 minutes though, but there's a lot of things that detailed, especially in this episode. So yeah, let's go ahead and get straight to the episode here. After the introduction, we get to see what the purpose of David Steele Lincoln is about. It's pretty much his 12th birthday. And he pretty much made it a David Steele themed party as his friends all dressed up as their favorite villains. It seemed all good at first, especially opening his present since being 12 for a Loud is very special. But something was missing. That gift that was passed on from generations for a Loud. Looks like it's time for David Steele to solve the case. So explain your thoughts on this setup of this whole David Steele episode that we're going to have.
Okay, this totes definitely feels like a David Steele cosplay gathering. And we should know, we were recently part of one. I love the character designs, I love the character names, and I also love how they look. They each have their own distinct character costume design, and it helps to distinguish each character from others, which adds to more of the fun. Also, can I just fanboy how Clyde as Oddball looks exactly like a hybrid of Willy Wonka and Dick Dastardly? Because he looks like a hybrid of Willy Wonka and Dick Dastardly.
Yeah. It kind of does.
Dick Wanda or Willy Dastardly.
I'm not gonna lie though. I mean, I'm not gonna lie though. Like, I think I was fangasming with the fact of Stella being Paddywhack. I was like, whoa, she's cool in a freaking top hat and everything.
And the eye patch. The eye patch is the best feature in that design.
Oh yeah. So it kind of sucks considering that in this part here we get to see them, be villains. They're not actually important to the episode at all. They're just mostly just dressed up as villains, which I thought was pretty cool. So it's like a cosplay sort of gathering for a 12th birthday, which is awesome.
Warms my heart, yeah.
Yeah. What else can I say? So how do you feel about the whole 12th birthday thing? Apparently this actually gets passed on by the Louds and all.
Oh, I really love it. It's especially interesting to see how the 12th birthday is sort of like the Sweet 16 of the Loud Men, or the quinceañera of the Loud Men. Remember when
just like just like Ronnie Ann's 15th.
So there's a hint of 15 candles in there. Anyway, on to the plot. I find it interesting how the 12th birthday marks the special birthday of the Loud Men and how it's pretty much Lincoln celebrating in this generation. Like Len Loud Sr. and his father celebrated their 12th birthday in the same fashion.
I think this is pretty cool. Just the fact that, I don't know about this. That apparently for a Loud, every 12th birthday you get something passed on, but we get to see the answer of that present a little later on. Because the thing is that present is actually stolen. So now we've got our own adventure here.
Yes.
The first thing Lincoln went to was the cameras, which were all blacked out. But for the footage, there was some key suspects. People that Lincoln hates. Scoots,
Yes.
Flip, and Chandler, for example. Quite interesting since they are folks that Lincoln really doesn't have a fond of liking to say. So he would gather them up and would risk a game for his presence. Luckily, he would win, and soon all of them would cough up what they have in their pockets to no avail. So how'd you like this part of Lincoln Loud just like dealing, risking all his presents for this one chance to get this lucky present from his family?
Let's just say that, for the record, I totally understand how Scoots was feeling when sitting at that table. I'd be crappy myself if I ever get caught myself sitting next to those two wastes of Royal Woods residents. Also, oh my god, I have to talk about this because honestly, This is one of the most badass Lincoln Loud moments I've ever seen. Right up there with that iconic scene from Bullies on the Bus. He really captured his alternate persona of David Steele very well and very spot on. It is chef's kiss amazing. From his mannerisms to his expressions, all the way down to the dialogue. So, you feeling lucky? Or got any twos?
I
James
think
Bond definitely met his match right there.
I think I really like that. Just the fact that like Lincoln goes all James Bond like, and he actually does this Casino Royale sort of thing, right? Where he literally bets all his presents for a way to get that that one present that his family ends up getting. So I feel like that was just awesome just to see that. And yeah, Lincoln now just being like this. I believe he's just very awesome as David Steele. Like we get to see that sort of James Bond-esque sort of episode. And not gonna lie though, I'm not gonna lie though, Gus with his like cameras and the fact that he also has a secret recipe. We already know his secret recipe. Okay,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
like that
of
by the way.
course.
Yes, yes, it's garlic nuts. Oh yeah, the secret is garlic. I'm like, oh, really?
No duh. No duh.
I mean, yeah, I do love it. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that Lincoln is just acting like this. I do love the feeling lucky punk part. It's awesome.
I love it too. It was
Look,
awesome.
I mean, yeah, it just makes me think that look, Lincoln's not into Ace Savvy, which I might be wrong on that when we look into another future episode. But I do like the fact that he's now switching over to like spy movies, for example. What's his next thing that he's gonna like? We'll see later as the more episodes come out. But yeah, it's a really awesome time just to see Lincoln Loud like this.
Definitely.
Okay, so yeah. Um, so let's see this. The party is about to end for Lincoln's birthday until a strange message would pop up from the party saying that they have the lost present. So this case really isn't over yet. The Lincoln would go over to his tech person, Lisa Loud. Okay, yeah, they have their what is it, Jeeves? I forgot the guy. I forgot the guy that in James Bond. Who do they talk to? That gives all the tech and everything.
I honestly forget because aside from the 2 or 3 James Bond movies, I've never seen any of the other
Like
ones.
so, it's like some sort of like
I've only
yeah, I
seen the
forgot
Daniel
his name.
Craig, a few of the Daniel Craig ones, so I'm not that familiar with 007 to be honest.
Mm. Still, it's still fun to say. Anyways, it really does feel like a spy movie, don't you think? Like seeing all this like set up for him to be a spy, and then you have Lisa become the tech person to come by and give all the technology to Lincoln. I mean, it does feel like a really good spy movie. So, what are your thoughts as you get to see this adventure take a very like spyish turn?
Oh my god, Lisa continues to nail it ever since season 5. I love the part she plays in this David Steele adventure. Her inventions, her go gadgets, and more help in him upgrading his spy persona to help him with his mission. Although, these, although Lola might not be pleased when she finds out you used her car and upgraded for Lincoln. Just say.
I still like this though. I mean, it just feels sort of like James Bond. It kind of feels like they really took the whole James Bond s sort of sophistication and then bring it into this episode. I don't know what. Like they literally watched like the latest like Spyfall movie or something, and then they just said like, hey, you know what would be work for Lincoln? What would work for James Bond? Lincoln Loud. So they made it perfect like that, and it just feels so very James Bond like. It's a very spy movie ish like. So it's like it's awesome to see that, and the fact that like when you thought that the president was not was it the solving mystery part where Lincoln just almost gave up considering that his party was almost done, and then the fact that there was still a message out there that said that somebody still has your present. It kind of tells you like this case isn't over yet. And oh, another thing too, I mean, do you have a feeling when you saw this like part in the episode, like did you know who the villain was going to be? Because in the back of my
Um,
mind, I was like, wait, I don't know who really does have something. Who really
I'm not
does
gonna.
have a
I'm not
villain
gonna
like
lie.
that?
I'm not gonna lie. There was a small hint as to who was the villain. Let's just say that there's a certain character wearing a certain outfit, and it's pretty much a 50-50 chance that he could be the secret villain. Just saying.
I mean, here's the other thing too. I mean, the person did leave the party. So that
That's
was
also
already
another
one
thing.
hint. There's already one hint that told me, by the way. So yeah.
Two, two.
So yeah, as as he heads up to the location of the robber who stole Lincoln's present, he would meet up with the mysterious person, and soon a huge chase scene would commence. As Lincoln tries to save his present from the obstacles he would face, Lincoln would meet up with the mysterious thief, and it would turn out to be Rusty. And to be fair, when you saw that, Rusty did leave the party, and then somehow he was the one involved with this. So yeah, this whole thing was all planned by him all along. And it definitely was an
Yes.
adventure for Lincoln, especially for his birthday. So how shocked were you to hear that Rusty was the one who actually made all of this up?
What a twist! Anyway, I kind of knew something was up with Rusty when he wore the same outfit as Lincoln. But then my expectations of him turning out to be the culprit was 50-50. There's a chance he could be a villain, there's a chance he could be not. And would you know it, my suspicions, half suspicions, were actually proved to be quite true.
I was okay, yeah. I had a feeling in the back of my mind, especially when I saw like the message pop up and the person who was like mysteriously right behind with petting the cat and all. Kind of feels like it was Rusty, but still, I mean, I feel so happy for Rusty, the fact that he actually did give Lincoln an amazing birthday. Because yeah, I would love to have a 12th birthday like that where your friend actually does set up things for you. And yeah, I would love that kind of thing. So if I was in Lincoln's shoes and you have a best friend who literally does this for you, I would be down. I would be like very happy about that. So yeah, proud for Rusty, especially in this moment. And the fact that he gave Lincoln such an amazing 12th birthday.
I know. Like it's sort of like, methodical evil genius, but not really for evil purposes. It's more like giving Lincoln the adventurous birthday that he deserves. So good on Rusty for that.
Yeah, I really do love how Rusty did this for him. And to say the least, it was all thanks to him that led to this whole adventure. So yeah, congrats. It just makes me feel like Rusty definitely went up when it comes to like likability after what happened in this episode. But yeah, and he pretty much made this adventure, and no doubt about it, definitely made Lincoln good, especially the fact that he was David Steele throughout the whole episode.
Yeah, definitely. And let me tell you something. I never really, in comparison to the other characters in the gang, I've always liked Rusty the least. There's just something about him that just irks me sometimes. And he is shown to be the most antagonistic towards Lincoln out of the entire squad. So it was really refreshing to see Rusty pull off this kind of move. You'd expect someone like Clyde, who's Lincoln's BFF, to
Yeah.
think of all this and do this. But no,
No,
surprisingly, it was Rusty.
I was gonna expect like the whole entire friend group to actually be involved in that, but no, it didn't turn out to be that way. It was only Rusty. So I was like, wow, what a great friend, Rusty, that you have for Lincoln.
Yeah, you really shined and you really proved yourself to be a true friend to Lincoln. I would say that like this is Rusty's one of, if not his best role in the series.
Most definitely. But yeah, congrats to Rusty, especially the fact that he gave Lincoln such an amazing 12th birthday. So yeah, Lincoln would get his present from his dad and grandpa, and it was a David Steele comic, literally the first edition, #1 comic, like the first issue comic for David Steele. So apparently it was passed down for generations, and no doubt an amazing present for a fan of David Steele. And as they rode off away from Lola, it turned out to be a grand birthday for Lincoln Loud. What are your
Yes.
thoughts on this ending here?
Oh my god, it warms my heart. It's such a sweet scene of his dad and grandpa passing down the David Steele comic to Lincoln, who would be from this generation of Loudmen. Of course, what did she think was going to happen? Lola, of course, would eventually find out that her car got turned into an upgraded David Steele car. So, of course, she would find out eventually. So, I warned you. I warned you.
No, I mean, I love the fact that like this whole family loves David Steele, and the fact that they would pass down this comic for generations. So, like, say for example, when Lincoln ends up getting a kid, he would actually pass that down to him too, which I thought would be pretty cool to see. Like, he's a huge fan of David Steele, and apparently the whole family's a fan of David Steele. So it's like, yeah, I do love the fact that they do this, and it's awesome now that Lincoln finally got the first issue, and that he's gonna keep it for until he has a kid. That is.
And he'll
But
pass it
yeah,
down to
I
his
love it.
kid for his 12th birthday. I just love
Oh
it.
yeah, that it was just amazing. Just the way that's the way the ending was. The fact that it was a present that was David related to David Steele. So it's like a perfect topping on how this episode was.
Yes. Of course, expect Lincoln Loud Jr. to get his hands on the comic sometime in the next 10 years or so. I'm sure that he and his wife, Ronnie Ann, would be
All
crying
Roddy
tears of
Kid fans
joy,
everywhere.
seeing, will be crying tears of joy seeing their precious son get their hands on the David Steele comic that was passed down from generation to generation.
I can't wait to see that. Hopefully, it will come in the next coming seasons for the Loud House. All right.
Yes.
Anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Um, Nothing much I want to say except let me tell you, this is one of the best Lincoln Loud episodes I've ever seen, if not the best. It was a fun action thriller ride. It gave me huge 007 vibes, such a lovely tribute to 007. Of course, you see Lincoln Loud, really pulling off the David Steele character. Like watching him, you think to yourself, yeah, I think that like as an adult, he'll definitely be playing the role of David Steele. He'll be like the Daniel Craig of David Steele's. He's already the David Craig of
Daniel Craig.
he's already Daniel Craig. I said Daniel Craig. He's already Daniel Craig of David Steele's. Just saying. And
Kind of
yeah,
feels like it kind of feels like he definitely does feel James Bondy, and I kind of say this episode definitely feels so spyish. Even for only 15 minutes, it just feels like you're in the episode investigating what the heck is going on and trying to figure out who the villain is. Even if it was only for like 15 minutes, I still was excited to see what was going on in this episode. So I loved it. I really did like it. It was definitely one of the best Lincoln Out Loud episodes I've ever watched. But yeah, all right. I mean, how would you rate this episode?
I would definitely rate this episode, honestly, a 9.5 out of 10. Like, honestly, it is now, as of now, this is season 6's best episode. It's its best episode because it presents Lincoln Loud in one of the best lights. It shows Lincoln Loud at his full David Steele type character. And I also love how they combine the family birthday heartwarming elements to it, combined with the actiony, engaging thriller, spyish elements to it, combined together and make for one awesome spyish episode. It is so great. It's so awesome to celebrate with the family. We, the fans, celebrate Lincoln Loud and his 12th birthday as well. So let me just say, Lincoln Loud, happy 12th birthday.
Definitely for a 12th birthday episode, it definitely feels so like fitting. The fact that it's all themed up for his 12th birthday, that he loves something that he really enjoys, like David Steele, and they definitely made it like the David Steele episode. So like I gotta thank Rusty. I gotta thank Rusty, especially the fact that he ended up making this whole ruse of a episode where Lincoln has to figure out his present and he's out to having a really awesome adventure and all. It definitely feels sort of like a James Bond movie, and it just gets you into the whole episode, considering that it's our boy Lincoln Loud and his 12th birthday. It was definitely an awesome themed episode, and no doubt about it, I definitely love it throughout the whole episode. So I'm with Omi, and I'm gonna give this like a 9.5. I think the only 0.5 that I would give it for is just because Chandler was in the movie in the episode.
Oh, wow, like
there's a reason why it was not. There's a reason why it was like, yeah, why Chandler would be in this movie.
Chandler appearance equals automatic elimination from perfect 10, but still 9.5 though. So like, which is good.
I know. Well, what kind of sucks is that when we're gonna review Time Trap, are we really gonna give it like a 9.5 if Chandler was in this too? Oh, all right. He's not gonna say anything. All right, we're just gonna move on to the next episode then. All right, let's head over to the next one. It's called Stressed for the Part. Synopsis here reads: after landing a role in Dairyland's production, Luann must hide the news from Mrs. Bernardo, whom she beat. So this episode begins where Luann and Benny, whom he has a side job in. Apparently, we didn't know that he had a side job in Dairyland. With the news auditioning for a role in the stage production for Dairyland. Turns out that role was that role that Luann is auditioning for makes it big in the future. So with that in mind, Luann is auditioning to with that in mind, Luann is set to hopefully become this character named Heidi Hepper. First off, Luann looks to continue as acting, looks to be a part of her future. How do you like that she's doing what it takes to make it big, to become a big actress later on in her future?
I would say this is a step up for Luann's acting career, and I'm so proud of her for doing this. And of course, acting in an amusement park. All
right, try to be very punny here, Luann.
This is a Luann episode, so it's something to be expected. So I'm really proud of her for taking this step, because let me tell you, it's the first step to her becoming a Broadway actress. And let me tell you, like, as an actor myself, I never really played any parts in any amusement parks, but I know for a fact that when it comes to theater, having a role in an amusement park, like rather it be Mickey, Donald, or Goofy in Disneyland, let me tell you, it looks good for your resume.
It, I wouldn't know, but the other thing too is that what I'm looking at for Luann is that yes, she could be a comedian, yes, she could be a actor, actress, or a director, but you already know what the trend is, right? Luann is definitely wanting to go into acting, and no doubt about it. When it comes to an audition like Heidi Heffer, where apparently people who end up getting the role but become something big, you know that she wants to absolutely audition the role. So yeah, it makes sense for Luann to get into this. And no doubt about it, just tells me that the future for Luann definitely looks like she really wants to be part of acting. And which is cool, which is awesome. I mean, it's getting her into theater arts, which is great.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm really proud of Luann. And plus, she's my second favorite Loud House character, right behind her roommate, of course. So it makes me even more proud as a big Luann fan. Like, I'm a
No
huge
doubt.
Luann
Yeah,
fan.
I
So
actually do love Luann. I mean, she's getting better. She's not really all about the puns and everything. She's now actually becoming a really wholesome character when you think about it now. Um,
definitely.
Also, how do you like this little Lou Benny interaction? Hello, we got Lou Benny back.
Oh my
It's
God!
awesome.
That
It's
kiss!
adorable.
That little kiss Luann gives to Betty. Oh, so cute, so cute, so
It's
cute, so
adorable.
cute.
No, it just tells you like Luann and Benny are still together, and it's just adorable
They're a
together.
thing.
Ah,
They've been boyfriend girlfriend for seasons. So
I know, but now
you
it's like
see them
really.
kissing. You see them kissing mouth to mouth in stage flight. So
I'm just saying though, like Luann and Benny are becoming like an awesome thing, considering like yeah, you've seen that in stage flight, but like you never see the trend of like how Luann and Benny are. But now you get to see like how Benny continues to be supportive to Luann, especially the fact that Benny gave out the audition for Luann, and no doubt about it, she definitely signed up for it. So yeah, she's definitely helping her, which is awesome for a boyfriend to actually do that to a girlfriend. And yeah, Benny's turned out to be a very sweetheart. He's very sweet. I like him. I really like him.
I love it. Yeah.
And yeah, no doubt he loves the kiss.
Look at that. The character animation. Look at that.
Yeah, I gotta give a shout out to the artist and everything. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes.
So Luann would audition and would land the role hands down. There was one problem though. Mrs. Bernardo also did want the role, but in fact, she auditioned 14 times and never got it. It made sense that Luann didn't tell her, even with Benny's motivation. I was like, what are your thoughts about why Luann decided not to tell Mrs. Bernardo
Uh,
about the audition?
while it may come as dishonest to some, you can understand why Luann wouldn't just, give out the news that she got the role that her mentor, Miss Bernardo, wanted. Because let's be honest, Miss Bernardo was an inspiration to Luann. She was a mentor to her. She's still a mentor to her. So Luann can't bring it herself to break Mrs. Bernardo's heart. And like I said, it really shows that genuine bond between a teacher and student. It really does show how Luann looks up to Ms. Bernardo as a mother figure when it comes to theater. So, of course, you can understand why she wouldn't just, tell her that she got the role that, like I said, Ms. Bernardo wanted.
Yeah. Still, I didn't expect. I mean, I understand Mrs. Bernardo is definitely depressed. I mean, still, I understand why Luann's had that pressure, where Luann is pretty much saying like, I can't tell her because I'm pretty sure Mrs. Bernardo is gonna kill me because I ended up getting the role and she didn't. And the fact that Mrs. Bernardo ended up like, was it trying out 14 times? So yeah, I think that she definitely did want to have that big Heidi Heifer role in order for her to become big. But God, it's crazy. I
Oh, dear
mean,
Lord.
I get it. I get it. Luann definitely didn't want to tell her because Mrs. Bernardo was gonna kick her ass. I'm pretty sure.
I
Yeah.
mean,
So
she'll just be mad. She'll just be
I feel like
disappointed.
for Luann, it makes sense why she was under pressure and didn't want to tell her, because you don't want to tell her, especially with that with something that big of a role that Mrs. Bernardo has been trying for so long. You don't want her to get like kicked in for that.
Exactly. You don't want to get on anyone's best side, especially your mentor.
So Luann wouldn't give the good news to Mrs. Bernardo, knowing that it would break her heart. So she decides not to tell her. But it would be hard for keeping a secret since she lost her script in which Mrs. Bernardo would get. Now it's just more of Luann and Betty trying to retrieve the lost script. So explain your thoughts of these scenes here, where Luann tries her best to get that script back.
First off, I love the fact that it's Benny who helps out Luann rather than just Mr. Coconuts. Not everything is Mr. Coconuts with you, Luann. Sometimes you gotta get Benny here or there in your episodes. You know what I'm saying? I do love each and every scenario because it also shows a bit of Miss Bernardo's daily life, where she goes shopping for a cat scarf. She goes grocery shopping, and pretty much living her own life. Of course, a life of tragedy and sadness that she didn't get the part she wanted, but still, it's pretty much a daily life of Miss Bernardo.
Yeah, it's just interesting how they were. It kind of got into this weird scenario where like the script was in Mrs. Bernardo's bag, and then Benny and Luann trying their best to get that script back, doing through a lot of things, even going through like a grocery store and just distracting Mrs. Bernardo for Luann to get that thing back. So, and here's the other thing too. Like I said, Betty being supportive for Luann. Luann definitely in a scenario where he needed her help. I mean, he needed his help in order for her to get that script back. Yeah, a lot of shenanigans going around here, but I do like the fact that these two are definitely working together in order for Luann to be successful. I thought that was pretty cute. Just the fact that these two are really
I
working
think it's
together.
I think it's cute too.
So yeah, Luann will give it. Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Luann would definitely do that. So yeah, eventually Luann will retrieve the script, and soon the stage play in Dairyland would debut. But there was an issue. Mrs. Bernardo was in attendance, so what does Luann do? Get Mrs. Bernardo out of the stage by joining her in rides, as Luann also had to deal with losing the part. So, what were your thoughts on Luann's situation, where she was pretty much like making sure Mrs. Bernardo doesn't reach the stage at the same time Luann is also losing his part, potentially losing her part.
Like I would say that it's an interesting conflict between her own interest, her own self interest and her needs, and the needs and interests of Miss Bernardo. It's pretty much a conflict that plays so well in that, where you got Luann trying to help herself by getting into the um, Dairyland play and playing the role. Versus Luann's interest of Mrs. Bernardo, and pretty much making sure that she doesn't see whom got the part instead of Bernardo.
Right, right. Um, I mean, I feel like in this situation, it's just more of like, dude, Luann, you should just pretty much tell her by now, because I know that you're trying your best to like keep the secret and all, but at the same time, if you lose a part, you're pretty much lost to everything. Um, but I like the fact that like Mrs. Bernardo would do whatever it takes by like writing rights and everything, and I feel bad for Luann considering that she was like throwing up in most of the rides, especially that sprinting, rolling around one where she Luann was about to
Yes.
throw up. And okay, so I'm guessing like the way that Mrs. Bernardo cooperates when it comes to a loss, like being depressed, apparently just scream at the at the cow.
I
I mean,
know.
she
Let
literally,
out that inner rage.
literally,
Let out that inner rage.
literally when she spins around, she screams like ah,
Yes.
and then she literally stops the ride, like the whole what is it though? It's a small world ride in
Yes.
Dairyland, and then
And
she
yes,
literally stops the
Luann's
ride
not
and just screams at the cow too, and I'm like, God damn it! I didn't know you were
and
that bad about
Luann's
it.
not exaggerating when she says that, oh, it's the same song played over and over again, because it's a small world.
Yeah, that's a small world. That's why I don't want to ride it sometimes. It's the same ride, so I'm kind of like feeling like
It's
Luann whenever I ride as a small world. I'm like, oh,
it's a catch.
it's
It's a
all over
tune
the place.
that's it's a tune that's way too catchy. I love the ride, but it's a tune that's way too catchy.
No, not for me. I'm kind of like, okay, you know what? I'll ride it, but I'll just take a nap on the round ride.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know it's that kind of like hate. But anyways, so eventually Luann would confess to Mrs. Bernardo about the role, and instead of her being angry, she was happy for Luann, as one of Mrs. Bernardo's prodigies landed a role she wanted for a long time. With Mrs. Bernardo's help, Luann wouldn't lose her role, not because she was late for the stage play, but the play was delayed because Meryl couldn't resist funnel cakes. Well, we'll talk about that also in this
Yes.
discussion here. Since she was out as the dairy godmother, Luann had another idea in mind. Might as well cast Mrs. Bernardo as the dairy grandmother. So how did you like? So and then in the end, they all ended up having a grand performance. How did you like this ending to this episode here?
I really liked it. It's really heartwarming to see how Mrs. Bernardo would react. Instead of disowning Luann as a student, rather, she's actually proud of her because while it's not Mrs. Bernardo herself that gets the role, it's actually one of Mrs. Bernardo's prodigies and one of Mrs. Bernardo's students that actually gets the role. And it really does. She knows that news really does highlight how much of an impact Mrs. Bernardo had in the Heidi Hefner world in one way or another, and it really does further elevate how much of a strong bond that Luann and Mrs. Bernardo have as teacher and student.
I do love this ending, considering Luann had to confess the fact that she ended up getting the role to Mrs. Bernardo, and you were thinking that Mrs. Bernardo would actually like tear her head off. There was that
Imagine
one
that.
synopsis where like Mrs. Bernardo literally like took the head off Heidi Hepper, and I'm like, okay, you're a crazy one woman.
Dang, dang, like she is ruthless, you know.
Yeah, but thankfully it didn't end up that way. Luann did confess, but at the same time, Mrs. Bernardo was definitely happy the fact that yeah, she may have missed on the role, but at the same time, she loves the fact that Luann, who was a prodigy of Mrs. Bernardo, definitely ended up getting the Heidi Heifer role, and that she's pretty proud of that. And I love the fact that I love the fact that Luann was about to like lose her spot, but at the same time, Mrs. Bernardo was definitely helping her try to get there. Um, and at the same time, I swear to God, like Meryl with the funnel cake part, I'm like, okay, I thought this was going to go smoothly until the fact that she ended up like not getting the role because of the funnel cake thing, and I'm like, oh God, really? Is this how she
Yes,
ended up acting? This is how the ending is going to be, just because Mrs. Bernardo will not get a role, but she will end up getting a role anyways. I'm like, okay, first off, sweet that they both end up getting a solution here, but I feel bad for Meryl considering that she just lost her spot, but not. Still,
she shouldn't have gone for the phone kicks in the first place. That's on her.
I mean, that's true. I mean, considering the fact that like even the director even said, "Don't go to funnel cakes. I'm watching you." I love that part, by the
Exactly.
way. Like, I get it. Funnel cakes are addicting. I mean, I would go to an amusement park and actually go for funnel cakes too, but to go into batter and to pretty much clog your ears, I didn't
Yeah,
expect her
no.
to go that crazy too.
Yeah, no. Like I'm
Well,
crazy for phone kicks, but not that crazy.
yeah. Nonetheless, Miss Burrow gets a role. Luann gets her Heidi Heifer role, and the show still ended up being perfect. And yeah, I would say this turned out to be quite an amazing episode of an ending to say, considering that they both end up getting a spot in the play, which would probably get them big. Who knows? It all depends on how the next episodes of the Loud House will be.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I would say no doubt, like I love it. It was great. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. Anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Yes, I just want to say I want to see more of this. I want to see more episodes focusing on Luann and her Theo life, and especially with her and Benny. Like, let's take a break from Mr. Coconuts for a minute, and let's just
I'm
focus on
telling
Luann and
you,
Benny.
Mr. Coconut, Luann has to stop Mr. Coconut sometime. Like, do not bring him. You have to let go of the puppet, Luann, please.
Yeah, and
I've been saying this for a long time. Luann needs to stop, trusting the puppet a lot. And I mean, like, if you're gonna grow up, eventually take the puppet off your hand and have other people help you out. It does get featured in another episode coming up that we're gonna review soon, by the way. Um, but yeah, Benny definitely helped out Luann. Mr. Coconuts, I think, was only there for like a little bit, but no doubt about it. I mean, Benny definitely is a huge help for Luann. I loved how these two are working together as a relationship, and the fact that they're also working together to get themselves better. I think this is an awesome episode. I really hope we do get more Benny episodes because it's cute to see those two together.
I agree. And honestly, like I'm one of the few people that actually does tolerate Mr. Coconuts as a character. Like, yeah, I actually do find him to be pretty witty and funny at times. But yeah, I do agree with the majority that sooner or later, Luann has got to stop using her. She's got to stop relying on Mr. Coconuts.
Exactly. Like I said, Mr. Coconuts, I understand that he definitely is funny for Luann, but I believe it's about time to finally let go of it. I'm waiting for that episode. I'm hoping that the Loud House writers listen to this.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been putting a lot of pleas about Luann letting go of the puppet. But yeah, I mean, I got nothing else to say. Mrs. Bernardo does have his. I feel like we having more Mrs. Bernardo episodes, like not really episodes, but more of her involved in episodes, and I think that's pretty cool. Like Luann definitely does look up to Mrs. Bernardo, and the fact that Mrs. Bernardo is helping Luann out as well. I believe like Mrs. Bernardo is going to be a huge thing in the next upcoming episodes for Luann.
Definitely, I agree. I want to see. I'm excited to see more episodes, especially with Luann, Benny, and Miss Bernardo in the future.
Oh yeah, I can't wait to see how this goes. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. Anything else you want to bring up for stress of the part?
Nothing much really, except I find it to be a wacky, funny, and genuinely heartwarming at times Luann episode. And what I love, what I especially love about this is not only does it show the genuine bond between teacher and student, like I said, but also the fact that Benny plays a significant role in this episode. Thankfully, it's not just Luann and Mr. Coconut. No, it's Luann and her significant human being, Benny. Like, it's actually Luann and Benny, two human beings working together, which is what I really love about it. And I want to see more Benny, less Mr. Coconuts.
All right. Last but not least, how would you rate this episode?
I would rate this a 9 out of 10 because, like I said before, I really do love how they pretty much further emphasize the theater element, how theater is part of Luann's life, and her getting the role as Heidi Heifer does play a part as the first step in her theater career. But the thing is, what the episode does brilliantly is that it asks, at what cost? At the cost of your mentor, your teacher, whom, if it weren't for said teacher, if it weren't for said mentor, you wouldn't even get the role in the first place. Is it at the cost of Mrs. Bernardo not getting the role and being way too sad about it? It begs the question.
I gotta say this though, I absolutely like this episode. I mean, besides the fact of Luann and Benny, but at the same time, Mrs. Bernardo is actually getting really entertaining for me. Like, I would not be surprised if we get to see more Mrs. Bernardo. Please give me some more of her. Please let me get Mrs. more of her because I'm getting to like her a whole lot. And can we please have more Luann and Benny episodes, because I feel like these two are absolutely working together. Let's say, for example, Benny has a problem, Luann helps her out, and Luann helps Benny out, and the same, and vice versa. If we could have more of those episodes, I would be down for it. But yeah, I loved it. It was absolutely sweet between Luann and Benny. Again, a few things here or there, especially for Meryl, for freaking, getting freaking into funnel cake batter. I'm like, come on, really? This is the reason why. The ending was kind of questionable. That's why I'm saying.
But then again, if it weren't for her, then Luann and Mrs. Bernardo wouldn't perform together.
Mrs. Bernardo. I mean, it would be cool if actually Mrs. Bernardo does accept the fact that she will not get a role in the play, but whatever. Yes. But yeah, I also give it a 9 out of 10. I think this is a very sweet episode. A lot of questionable stuffs here and there, but I do say this is very sweet. Can we please have more Benny episodes, because this is awesome.
I agree.
All right, last but not least, we're to talk about the special that also aired on June 3rd. It's called Time Trap. Synopsis here says, when the kids break their parents' priceless faith, they decide the only thing is to go back to their parents' wedding and prevent them from ever receiving it. Okay, so when you heard the synopsis, did you feel like it was something weird? Because I know a lot of people in our fandom kind of thought, what the hell? Why are we going back in time in this kind of thing?
I mean, you didn't think to look at something like, I don't know, eBay or Amazon or something like that and just look up the exact vase, and there you go, you're good to go.
It was just really interesting considering like how the fans kind of thought it. Like, I was kind of one of those people too, who kind of like thought, why are you making this kind of episode? I'm like, wait, we're gonna go travel back in time because of a broken vase.
Yeah, it was pretty weird too. It was pretty questionable, I'm not gonna lie. But the thing is though, is that I've come to get used to the supernatural elements in the Loud House. There was a time where I thought it was a problem because the Loud House is supposed to be a slice of life show, and usually slice of life shows are grounded in reality.
Right, exactly. But you've seen how slice of life shows go; they can like do anything to like break that kind of logic. So, I mean, it happened before. I mean, Lisa going back in time as well. So I love the fact that this is going to be a huge Lisa thing where they are going to travel back in time. But like I said, coming into this episode, I thought it was kind of weird, like how the synopsis goes. But in the end, it actually turned out to be a pretty entertaining episode. So let's go ahead and get right into the review here. So yeah, just the usual hang out at the Loud House in the beginning where Lori was training for... Wait, I've just said this right. Lori is back, right?
Lori's back.
Lori is back, right? Oh my god. Okay. Let's stop the phrase here. Lori's back. I'm pretty happy. Of course, big Lori fan. What do you expect? How surprised?
I knew you'd have this reaction. First off, I knew you'd have that reaction. Second off, I was literally pleasantly surprised. Lori being back into a Loud Family episode is something that I've been yearning for since Glory days because of how much that episode presented Lori's chemistry with the family the best.
I think is that okay. Sorry about that. My thing right here is the fact that I feel like Lori just comes randomly in episodes. Like she'll come in like it's Dress for the Part, for example. She literally watched Luann's performance. Like she'll just randomly pop up and just appear. But this time around, she actually does appear in like specials, for example. The last time we see her in a special was camped. So it was just random too, because like she literally just went home for a camping trip. This time around, she just literally went home and just hanged out with the
Yes.
Loud. So I'm guessing like randomly we'll just see Lori back. And when Lori comes back, it's gonna be a huge moment for me, considering that Lori's back. Hey, Lori's back. I'm happy. Oh my god.
Yes. I'm happy for Nate. I'm happy for all the Lori fans who are
Yeah.
literally celebrating this.
So yeah, I mean, I love the fact that Lori finally gets some airtime, and it's been a while since Lori days back in season 5 where we get to see her. So yeah, welcome back, Lori. I love that you're back here over at the Loud House.
Welcome back, Lori.
But yeah, I love the fact that like they kept the Lori golf training thing as well. So it's interesting. But I'm guessing Lori love golf, and I love the fact that the family actually does help her in her training. Speaking of her training, Loudswood looks like they were having a lot of fun seeing Lori get a hole in one, but at the same time, the vase broke, which turned out to be a very valuable item for their parents since it was a gift for their wedding. Every time it broke, they would get punished by being grounded. So explain your thoughts about the
Yes.
kids getting punished every time they broke the vase.
Yeah, it turns out that the Louds have a vase. And not just any vase, but it turns out that it was a valuable wedding gift their parents have gotten. So, yes, I can see why they'd be mad about them breaking the vase, especially when they've done it numerous times.
I just feel like this vase, I feel like the vase has always been there. Like, literally has always been there whenever we see them in the Loud House, like, for example. It's literally like on the doors. But every time we see it broken, we never see it break actually like this. So every time we see it broken, we just keep on seeing the fact that they keep on getting grounded. Like, was it Rita and Lynn continues to say like, we hate like we broke the vase. This was a wedding gift. You're grounded for a week, a month, 2 months.
Yes.
It kept on accumulating. So it's like, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah,
So if they
I love how it
when they have
elevates
this.
up to a point.
Right. So it's like the punishment keeps on getting worse, considering that they keep on breaking the vase. So yeah, of course that concern is right there for the Louds to fix it up or do something to not get that problem there.
Yes.
So yeah, let me see. Ah, crap, I gotta go through this part here. All right. So yeah, the Loud siblings wish their parents never got the vase. Luckily, with Lisa's smart abilities, she actually has the ability to time travel. What? She actually has a time travel? Okay. The plan is pretty simple. Go back in time to the parents' wedding and replace the vase with a toaster. So with the time machine made by Vanzilla, Lisa would go back in time and would arrive at Lynn Sr. and Rita's wedding. Though there's just one problem though. The rest of the Louds went as well, and knowing them, chaos would ensue. So how did you like the idea of time travel here to resolve the solution?
Yeah, it's one of those ideas where if you think about it at first, it does sound pretty, out of the norm for the Loud House, even time travel. But then again, like I said before, the Loud House, like I said, doesn't tend to sometimes bring in supernatural elements, so it's to be expected. But it's how the time travel is used in the episode itself that actually manages to pleasantly surprise me of how surprisingly well done it is.
Hold on for a sec. Sorry. Yeah, you're right about that. I just find it like a weird aspect, the fact that time travel end up being like the way to answer the question. Because like the thing what they could have done is actually like fix it by having somebody come by. But knowing the fact that they continue to break it, so it makes sense why Lisa would actually say, "Hey, let's not have this vase become the problem anymore. Considering that the vase is always going to be broken, why not replace it with something that's like less valuable, like a toaster, for example?" Apparently,
Definitely.
which I thought was fun, which I thought was actually pretty fun to see. Nonetheless, I
Yes.
mean, it's weird. It's weird, but then again, Lisa did break time travel before. Remember back in the Mad Scientist episode where she actually did
Yes.
go back in time before accepting the fact that she wanted to go to the science sort of
Yeah,
thing.
so this isn't the first time that they've done time travel per se. So honestly, it was at that point like Mad Scientist was one of those first episodes where I'm just like, okay, this is a slice of life show unlike any other.
I like the whole continuity here, by the way, that Lisa fucking invent time travel or it like upgraded the time travel thing.
Definitely. I love it.
I love it too. Yeah.
Great Scott!
But yeah. Time travel, the Zilla. There's just one problem. The rest of the Louds would come with them as well. So I mean, the fact that chaos would ensue, you already know that things are just gonna go way out of hand, and you get to see it, especially especially as they mess up the Loud wedding, for example. So when you saw the
Yeah.
rest of the Loud siblings join the ride, did you know that this was gonna go all bad?
Look, we all love the loud kids, okay? We really do. But let's be honest here. Having 11 rambunctious children in a wedding could turn out to be, well, chaotic.
Definitely was chaotic, especially. But like I said, like this wasn't Lisa's plan. Lisa still ended up trying to go by herself, but at the same time, all the Loud kids ended up going. And well, yeah, chaos ensues. Let's talk about that right now. So as predicted, when the Louds are unsupervised, chaos ensues. The Louds would end up ruining the wedding, which we will get to later, leads to very big consequences. First, let's talk about how the Louds ruined the parents' weddings. What are your thoughts on what happened here? Where like everything just started to go all bad.
Of course, you would see the Louds as their usual, well, loud selves. Like, for example, you got Lenny accidentally spilling pickle juice on Rita's wedding dress. Then you see Luann telling her puns. You see Lola bullying the flower girls. Of course, you see my girl Luna Loud, really, increasing the wedding party to be like a wild rocket time. Rock and roll, Luna, let's go, baby. And then, of course, the straw that broke the camel's back is, of course, Lily ruining their cake. Lily ruining the wedding cake was the straw that broke the camel's back. And that is where Rita and Lynn Sr. has decided that, maybe having kids might not be such a good idea after all.
Yeah. It all went bad to say the least. Like, yeah, things pretty much ruined the fact that the kids ended up ruining the wedding. I don't know what it kind of feels like when they were ruining the wedding. Like in the back of my mind, I felt like, this is gonna go bad. Things are gonna go bad.
What'd you know if things went bad?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the fact that, but okay, like that one scene already where Lenny ends up ruining Rita's dress. It just tells you like this just goes all bad.
It really
um,
does.
Lola definitely with the fact that she like showed up to the flower girls and just made them cry. I mean, why, Lola? I mean, I understand that you want to be sophisticated and all, but girl, why?
I don't know. Lola could be mean at times. Even like in her more better moments, like let's just be honest, like Lola Loud has still had that mean streak, even with redeeming role qualities that she would grow to have as the series progresses.
I'm gonna say this though. In this part right here, where Luna was supposed to like tell Chunk how to jam. Yeah, you've now made him not a rocker.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Luna. What did you do here?
Hey, don't blame her, okay? Come on, don't blame Luna.
Well,
Like,
nonetheless, though, look, the whole, just to say the least, the whole thing was ruined. Everything was pretty much ruined, and yeah, I feel bad throughout this whole like wedding here, where it's just like, okay, now, okay, like I said, in the back of my mind, I've got a feeling like because of this, something bad is gonna happen, and we're gonna explain that later. But just seeing the fact that they kids are chaotic and they end up ruining the whole wedding, I mean, it was kind of meant to be in this case.
yeah,
It kind of felt that way.
you know how it gets especially bad? You know how it gets especially chaotic? It's especially bad when instead of Lynn Sr. crying, you see Rita crying. When Rita cries instead of Lynn Sr., you know things go completely bad.
Hmm. Yeah, let's just say it wasn't all good for the Louds, especially what happened after here. But yeah, the wedding was pretty much ruined. So to say the least, yeah, not looking good for the Louds to say. So the siblings would accomplish their mission. They did get rid of the vase, but when they came back, things really have changed. First in the Loud House, turns out Rita and Lynn Sr. ended up not having kids, which would make sense after what happened in
Yes.
the wedding. Yeah, but it also leads to a big problem. If they didn't have kids, the Louds technically never existed. Um, Now it's a race against time to resolve the timeline before they all disappear. So Hodge likes a little twist in the episode because of what they did in the wedding. It's the reason why this is pretty much like, it's a race against time before you all disappear.
Yeah, let's be honest though. After the Louds completely ruined the wedding of their parents, of course, it would go to a time where, of course, the Loud kids didn't exist at all because, well, let's be honest, Rita and Lynn Sr. didn't want kids after the kids were the disastrous wedding, and I don't blame them. So, what I like about this, especially, um, I have to give props to the animators, especially the production designers, for how they use the colors. Because when you look at the colors of this particular timeline in comparison to the canon timeline, you'll notice that the colors here are dimmed down. They're mostly gray, dull colors, whereas in the current timeline, the present timeline of Royal Woods, you see the Loud House and you see the atmosphere more bright, more colorful, more sunny. And that's because of the fact that the Loud kids really do add color to the environment of Royal Woods. So I like they add that little detail.
I like the fact that it was all pretty much like dim. The fact that like nothing was bright anymore. Like the rooms ended up changing. Like Lola's room turned out to be a gym. And the fact that like if you see throughout the pictures, the whole siblings are gone. It's mostly Rita and Lynn. And like I said, we don't blame them for ruining the family, considering that they kind of ruined the wedding, and of course, it made them not have kids anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, their fault. They're kind of their fault. Although I do
Yeah.
love this whole, I do love this whole timeline. It kind of tells me like Rita and Lynn look like they were sophisticated, like young people. Like they're in their 40s and 50s. They look like they're having a fun time. They literally went to Europe before going back home, and they even have a sports car instead of a Vanzilla. So it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're living their best life right now.
Mom and dad have got it going on, to quote Lenny.
I guess it's a good way to put it. But yeah, things are just pretty much not going good for them, considering that they don't exist. So yeah, not good.
Yeah.
So like this twist of the episode, I think was just good, considering like, oh, you ruined the okay, so like you ruined the wedding, and obviously when you ruin the timeline, things are gonna go bad, especially when you go into your present timeline. Hence, what happened here, where all the kids are pretty much non-existent, which means that if you want to fix your timeline, you got to do it before everybody disappears. So I've seen this before. Like I've seen like cartoons like this done before, this kind of like idea and stuff like that. So it's awesome to see how the Loud House end up doing something like this, and it turned out to be quite entertaining. Just the fact that like, first off, we all thought that this episode was just going to be, oh, just another time travel episode, really, but it turned out to be more than that, really entertaining, in fact, as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because it gives an insight as to what would happen if the Loud Kids never really existed. We get to see how much of an impact their lives have. Let's say the Loud Kids didn't exist, what would happen to them?
Exactly. So yeah, this is gonna be really fun, considering that this is pretty much the halfway point of the episode. So now they have to find a way back, and as they try to find a way back to the Louds' wedding, we get to see what happened in this timeline, including a more likable Mr. Grouse. Yeah, more likable Mr. Grouse. He actually is not the grumpy old Mr. Grouse now. He actually turned out to be a very fit old Mr. Grouse.
Yeah,
Flip.
he even giggled and said that tickles when Lana kind of punched his gut, and it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, no, I agree. That's something that
It's
regular
not. It's
Mr.
not
Grouse would
like. It's
never
not like
think of
Mr.
doing.
Grouse would always say like "dang it loud" or something like that. Flip, by the way, who's not gross anymore, he turned out to be a hippie. How'd you feel about that? That Flip turned around.
Oh my god, let me tell you. I think the one thing that they did in this timeline far better than the regular timeline was that they actually made Philip a likable guy. I'm not kidding. You see this gross lard, you see this fat waste of a Royal Woods resident actually to turn out to be a decent guy who sells vegan smoothies and pickle juice and stuff like that. Like, oh my god, please, Loud House, can we switch flips, please? Can we flip the flips? Like, we'll take this flip, Philip. Thank you very much. We like to do a trade, okay? We like to do a trade.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's not the case here. Apparently, we still have the gross Flip. Maybe what you could have done is actually like spill the what was it, the kale juice in front of Flip instead of like Rita, so ruin the dress instead.
Yeah,
Maybe we could have
definitely.
done that. Maybe Lenny should have done that instead. Maybe a little better. Worst of it all, unfortunately for Luna's frontman Chunk, turned out he got the worst of it all as he's a garbage man. How do you feel about Chunk as
Uh,
he became that?
who would have thought that this timeline would do Chunk the dirtiest. And I feel bad for the guy because, like I said, he's my favorite John DiMaggio character in the Loud House, and not just because he's connected to Luna. So it really did break my heart a bit that he would turn out to be a garbage man with no music in his life anymore because of his disastrous wedding. And oh my god, Nate, dude, no, I'm crying right now.
I'm sorry.
Logo,
I'm sorry. That's the only way I can actually do this.
Why?
That's the only way I can actually bring Chunk in. I'm sorry.
Why you see Luna dying, Luna glitch? It's like, no.
She's not dying. She's glitching. I mean, I had to see Lori glitch out
She's
first.
being erased for existence,
and I had to see
though.
her go. I had to see her go away too. Okay, it was the.
Oh my god! Like honestly, and let me tell you, like I love Luna. She's my favorite character, but it's still not the most heartbreaking thing I've seen in this episode. We're going to touch upon that moment right now.
Yeah, I have to say this though. It was just honestly sad just to see everybody fade away. I mean, I had to see Lori fade away, for example. I'm like, no, this is about to start. Oh man.
I think this is how. This is exact representation of how the Loud House seasons 5 and 6 have been treating Lori's character. Like there's kind of representation there.
Right. Nonetheless, all of them are starting to fade away, and it started to get all bad to say. I also do want to bring up another couple of characters that also did change in this episode. How about Lincoln's friends? What happened to them? What happened to them? Why are they following Chandler out of all people?
Okay, this is where my heart broke to shreds, ripped to pieces. Just seeing Chandler of all characters actually taking Lincoln's role in the friend squad, and him taking charge up to the point where they would become bullies themselves, just like Chandler, and then picking on Lincoln a little bit. Oh my god, it is just so devastating to watch. I honestly, I'm not kidding when I say this. This is honestly the worst outcome to come out of this timeline. But even with this, there's actually a silver lining to it. Hear me out. Because it really does show how much of a positive influence that Lincoln has on his squad, on his friends. So let's say that if it were for Lincoln, these kids would have ended up hanging out with the wrong kid, Chandler. And, like at best, they would be school bullies. And at worst, they would be juvies. Let's just put it that way. They would end up in juvenile hall for a long time.
I felt so bad for Lincoln, especially in this case, considering that all of his friends end up being like Chandler's squad. So they end up being bullies. And in this scene in particular, you get to see a deeper voice Clyde. Did you notice that, by the way?
Yes. Great.
Clyde definitely had a deep voice. I'm like, whoa.
By Clyde's live action actor.
Yeah, did the switch happen then? It looked like it was definitely deep when I heard it too. So,
yeah, it was definitely the deepest I've heard from him. And also, I just want to bring up gray blue star shirt Stella.
No, but they still are a bully Stella. That's not cool. Alternate line Stella, but technically everybody pretty much had a damp look into them. You see Rusty, you see Zach, you see Liam, also in that part of the squad too. And plus Clyde, for example, he definitely doesn't have the white shirt anymore. It's literally red and orange. So yeah, I can't with this. Like if they end up with Chandler, that would be the worst thing ever. If all of them ended up being with Chandler, that would be the worst.
Like I said, it's the worst outcome to come out of the timeline. Yes, even more so than Chunk not being a rock star, and even more so than the Loud parents not knowing who their kids are.
Well, yeah, that's a lot about the timeline. The other thing that I also want to bring up too is remember what we saw back in the wedding? We get to see some parents end up being obsessed about these Louds. Yeah. Remember the girdles? Yeah, apparently they still are. Yeah, apparently they still are kind of alien freaks, and I think they kind of emphasize it a whole lot more. They kind of emphasize it a whole lot more, especially what they did, especially when they time travel and everything.
Yeah, apparently they're too busy with their alien hunting to raise their son Zach to be a decent human being.
Yeah, and apparently they're still alien hunters. Zach is still an alien freak too, if the way you see it. Zach definitely does show like Zach is also into aliens as well.
Well, I don't know about him still being into aliens in this alternate timeline, but that's up for debate.
But yeah, I mean, you get to see them in the wedding, and it turned out they still became alien freaks. And then in this timeline, they're still alien freaks, and they even captured the Louds. So yeah, this turned out to be pretty bad.
It turned out to be chaotic.
So yeah, Let's see where it's at. As they try to find their way back home, they would be caught by Zach's parents. And you'd think it would be over then, right? Well, it turns out the girls actually does have all the things necessary for a time machine. So after tricking the girls into after tricking the girls from capture, the Louds would escape and would fix the timeline. Explain your thoughts when the Louds got captured for being aliens.
Yeah, let me tell you, from the moment we see Zach's parents showing up in the timeline in which the Louds interfere in the wedding, you know they're going to play a huge part in that. And then you see them, they're still the same age, still the same outfits and stuff like that in this timeline as well. So I do like the fact that it's pretty much the same character.
Yeah. Oh my god. I mean, well, here's the thing. You could have at least changed them. It's kind of fortunate that you actually changed Flip, you changed Mr. Grouse, you changed what was it? You changed Chunk. But why not the girdles? You still made them alien freaks. And it shows here, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just feels like they were I mean, they look like definitely bad antagonists in this episode too. Considering that they captured the Louds, considering that they time travel and everything. And it's pretty much their way of like trying to escape in order for them to go back in time and make sure that they end up fixing the timeline. And at the same time, you get to see everybody pretty much disappear. You already saw Lori disappear, Lady disappear, Luna, Luann, and then Lynn in this case, Lincoln also. So you pretty much have the 5 smallest siblings trying to help them get back in time, to say.
Yeah, and it's a duo that you would the least expect to actually save the day. Well, okay, they technically also did in Lily for the Dream because they're the youngest siblings. So honestly, like for a youngest sibling duo, that's actually quite impressive for a 4-year-old and a baby.
I have one thing I do have to bring up though. I love the fact that Lucy sacrificed herself in order for like the rest of the siblings in order for them to go back in time to get into the wedding. Because like
Yes,
if it wasn't for Lucy, they would have not made it, and it would have been game over from there.
I love that whole pose where she was like, "I'm out of
Yeah, she was
here."
about to like rest in peace.
Yeah, and she does it with pride. I just love it.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, so good, all good for you, Lucy. And now the rest of the Louds are going back in time to go back to that wedding. So as they went back to the wedding, most of the Louds would be gone except for Lisa and Lily, and now they need to stop themselves from ruining the wedding. Lisa would stop the Loud siblings from ruining their parents' wedding, but not Lily. Instead, she would give her parents a sweet moment, making them want to have kids. So explain your thoughts on this little resolution here.
I love how they pretty much go for a alternate sort of ending, the one you least expect, because you expect Lisa to be the one to pretty much save the day with her scientific stuff. But no, it really does show how the heart of the Loud Kids is what saves this episode. When you see Lily dapping some birthday frost on Rita and Lynn Senior's noses, and then you have everyone going, "Oh, it's adorable," and you see them actually wanting kisses. It's like Lily saves the day again. I love this silly. I love this
It
silly.
just feels like if you have Lisa and Lily have like a good chemistry episode together. I mean, we saw that Jim and Lily's Dream, which is the best episode of 2021, by the way.
I
Um,
know.
I mean, it definitely does show that Lily and Lisa definitely do work together duo, and the fact that Lily's growing up, that she's actually smart. She doesn't want to like ruin a cake. She will just do something to make sure everything is sweet and all.
Yeah. If Silence of the Luans
And
was any indicator, it shows that Lily is much smarter than she seems as a baby.
And the other thing too that I also want to bring up is the fact that Lisa, like the whole solution was definitely just make sure that the Loud siblings do not do not interfere with the wedding. That's why they locked them up in the Loud wedding part. Remember when
Yeah.
she tried to switch it to a closet, then they were
I
pretty much trapped
know.
in there. So yeah, good job for you, Lisa. But at the same time, yeah, Lily was about to like ruin the cake again. Thankfully, she didn't, and she ended up having this sweet moment. So like the resolution here was very fast, but it didn't need any context. All you gotta do is just make sure that the future you didn't ruin the wedding, and then it would turn out to be a very sweet moment at the end. Just make sure Lily doesn't ruin the cake.
Exactly. Which she didn't.
Yeah, thankfully she didn't. And looks like everything is all back to normal, to say. So as Lily and Lisa would come back, the rest of the Louds would be as well, and the timeline would be restored. The vase would still be broken, and they would be grounded yet again. But this time, the kids would learn their lesson from messing with the timeline, and that's their punishment that they deserve. How'd you like this whole ending to this episode?
The ending was heartwarming, yet a bit bittersweet when you consider the fact that technically they are grounded. But I like the fact that the Loud Kids don't care that they are grounded. They rather be grounded than be erased from existence. So I love that, tender, heartwarming hug that the Loud family gives to each other is really sweet. There's a bit of a catch though. It turns out that Lily was in the picture the whole time. And imagine if Rita or
Ah,
imagine if Rita or Lincina would closely look at the picture and she'd be like, "Oh, that baby looks just like Lily." And then
wait a minute.
Lisa goes, yes, she does.
Everything looked all good because it felt so sweet. The fact that they, got punished, and I think they learned their lesson after that. I feel like this is a good learning lesson for them. That yeah, we ruined the vase. We wouldn't want to mess time again because we would have not existed anymore. So yeah, they did end up getting their punishment, 2 months of grounding, and I love the fact that it was all heartwarming at the end, where they pretty much hug Rita and Lynn Senior. But also at the end there, where yeah, we get to see Lily in that picture.
Yes.
So it makes me the question: are we going to see another episode where Lisa has to fix the timeline again, knowing Lily was technically back in the wedding?
You know what'd be interesting? I've always wanted this. Imagine an episode where they pull a Loki of some sorts
Oh
and
no.
actually focus on an episode centered around the alternate timeline, Loud Kids dad wanted to go and ruin the wedding once more, but then they got luck to suffocate in the closet. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to see what they want to do with those Loud Kids in the timeline where Rita and then Senior first get married.
That'll be awesome to see too, not gonna lie. But wow. Now that you
Yes.
pretty much have Lily in the back there with the picture, now it just tells me like, oh, we're gonna go have another time episode, or else here comes another timeline ruining moment here.
They got to tie up loose ends,
Also,
so
yeah,
I'd
also
welcome
the other
it.
thing too is that don't mess with time. I mean, that's a lesson too. I'm pretty sure Lisa, after like all the mayhem that happened, I'm pretty sure she pretty much learned her lesson, and that she's time travel will never be a thing for her anymore.
Oh, let me tell you, she will learn the hard way. She will learn the hard way, yeah.
You'll learn the hard way, yeah, most definitely. But yeah, that's pretty much it for our review for Time Trap. Anything else you want to bring up from this episode?
Yes, I just want to bring up that, like I said, please give us a alternate Loud Kids episode in which Lisa actually goes back in time and she meets the Loud Kids that she locked in the closet, and then she explains everything to them and explains how technically replacing the base with Toaster was a bad idea. And then you see the Loud Kids butting head with Lisa because during the time they didn't want to be grounded. They didn't know the risk. So it'd be an interesting sort of conflict between current present day timeline Lisa and the alternate versions of the Loud families.
I gotta say this though is gonna be interesting if they're gonna do another time travel episode. It'd be cool if they actually did it, but hopefully like a better way of actually like trying to mess up with time and all. I thought this was a good, interesting concept of time traveling because I've seen this before where episodes where like certain cartoons also do the same aspect, and this is pretty. I mean, and you've seen them like mess up the timeline. They have to go back in time in order for it to be fixed. I've seen that in Jimmy Neutron. I've seen that in Fairly Odd Parents, for example. So it's like they're bringing back those kind of gimmicks into the Loud House, but I feel like the Loud House definitely did its justice and actually did do a good job when it comes to the whole time traveling aspect of a cartoon and things like that. So yeah, Lisa goes back in time, things get ruined, the whole future gets ruined, and I love the fact that like it was a cool race against time sort of thing where like Lisa and Lily have to do this or else it's over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the whole dynamic. Lisa and Lily definitely do work together, and I really hope we do get more episodes. I mean, we did have an episode already with was it Dream a Lily Dream that ended up being the best episode of 2021. So maybe this could be the best episode of 2022. We'll see. We have another best episode tournament coming next year. But
Yes. And spoiler alert, I still say that Skatey Cat is the best of 2022 by far
can we
so
please
far.
have that so that we can actually have a Casa Grande episode end up being the best episode of 20 of a year?
Yes,
We
this is
literally
the
almost
time.
had it. We literally almost had it with an utter mess. It was almost there, but Dream a Lily Dream ended up
Like,
winning it.
this is a time where I 100% accept a Casagrande's victory because Skatey Cat's potential victory 100% deserved. Like I said, masterpiece of an episode.
All right. I got nothing much to say. I mean, it would have been cool if they actually did not bring over what was it? If they didn't really bring over Zach's parents, because yeah, apparently they still are alien loving freaks.
Yeah.
Um but I do, like I said, I love the whole concept. I think everything was all laid out in laid out stayed in stone, and it led into an amazing adventure with the Louds trying to race against time in order for them to fix the timeline and make sure everything is back to normal. I thought that was a cool episode. All right,
I think so
all
too.
right, how would you rate this episode?
I would rate this episode a 9 out of 10. It's a pretty solid, surprisingly good episode. Um, and it managed to catch me by surprise how much they pulled off a Back to the Future sort of premise with Time Trap in the Loud House. The story is thoroughly engaging. It's really interesting to see Rita and Liz Sr.'s wedding. And it's also raises a question. Like, it gives a what if scenario. Like, what if the Loud kids were never born? I really like
Mhm.
that, and I really do like how we do see how the Royal Woods residents' lives differ from when they would be alive.
I have to say this though, this definitely was an amazing adventure just to see how time travel works against the Louds. I do say this was definitely fun to watch. There are some hiccups here or there. I do say that they definitely do a better job of actually making a time travel episode compared to like what the Fairly Odd Parents of Jimmy Neutron did. Um, with the whole 30-minute episode and all that jazz. I feel like this is really entertaining. I gotta give this a 9 out of 10. I loved it throughout the entire episode. Some people might say no, some people might say yes, but I give it a 9 just because I love the whole aspect. Because when I came in, I thought it was just gonna be all bad, but at the end, it turned out to be, well, quite good to say,
Yeah,
entertaining to say.
it actually turned out to be one of the best Loud House season 6 episode, right up there with Present Danger and the Taunting Hour.
For sure. All right.
Yes, I said Taunting Hour. I said Taunting Hour. Come at me.
All right, we'll talk about that later either way. But that's pretty much it for our Loud House episode reviews. Thank you for our first ever Twitch debut. Thank you for all for checking out this stream. This is awesome to finally have some Twitch streamers come in. If you like what you saw, please follow us and you're going to listen to more of us. We always go have our streams every Wednesday, by the way. So please come on by.
Definitely.
Remember that you can listen to our Loud Casa Talks podcast on all podcast providers, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, our Loud Casa Talks podcast will always be there. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to that so you get to see the latest YouTube videos that came out. And last but not, and also, like I said, follow our new Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Loud Casa Talks. We love to see awesome followers of the Loud House and the Casa Grandes come by. So if you like what you saw tonight in today's stream, go ahead and click that follow button, and also try to subscribe if you want to, so you get to see more about the channel and everything.
Yes, please follow and subscribe to us here on Twitch.
I messed up on this one. This is going to be the 29th, not the 23rd. So coming up next, our next one is going to be. I had to screw up on this. Anyway, the next one that we're going to be doing is on the 29th, which is going to be next Wednesday. We're going to review the newest episodes of the Casa Grandes. So hopefully you get to see us review these 4 episodes that came out recently. It's Race Against the Machine, My Fair Cat Lady, Survival of the Unfittest, and Nick Signals. So come back next Wednesday here on Twitch. And you also can see replays of our episode reviews on Thursday on YouTube. But yeah, these look actually really exciting episodes, especially Nick Signals. I actually did like that episode.
Yeah, so now the loud crowd has gotten their food. Casa Crew, let me tell you, next week you're going to be in for a real treat. I promise you that.
I have to say this, though, for a little preview right now. Did all the episodes look really entertaining? I mean, My Fair Cat Lady, just because Adelaide fans are definitely huge about that episode.
This is definitely some of the best. This is the best episode, title card design lineup I've ever seen. Loud House of Casa Grande. Look at how
I feel like the Casa Grandes definitely did amazing with these next couple episodes. I mean, you have a Stanley Chang episode, you get a Adelaide episode, you have Arturo and Bobby actually hanging out together. You never saw that ever. And you also see Carlota and Rita. You also see a Carlota and Frida episode hanging out together.
You got father and son, followed by mother-daughter.
Mother-daughter, yeah. So these are going to be quite interesting episodes we're going to review. So make sure you come back next Wednesday live on Twitch. Just remember that we always record our episodes now, and then we're going to bring it onto YouTube every Thursday. But yeah, that's pretty much it for us here. Thank you very much for checking out today's live stream. Thank you all for watching. My name is Nate.
And this is Omid thing saying thank you all so much for watching. It's so great to be able to do this again after last week where we're kind of absent because of the break game. But still, like I always love doing this, so it's really great that we just did it now. How we got to talk about how stellar that each and every single of these episodes are. Like that's what I like. Like in this, there's no bad or mediocre episode in the lineup.
All right, thank you all for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.